Welcome to And It's Live, the podcast which dives deep into football's most iconic seasons, stories, and what ifs. If you love football, history, tactics, and nostalgia, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and drop us a like on YouTube so you don't miss an episode. Macca, then, Davey, because this was a big story at the start of that season. Him going, England had used the Bosman ruling to get players in. This was probably the first English player anyway. John Collins had gone to Monaco from Celtic and kind of stiffed them. But this was the first time someone had left for nothing really. On 110 grand a week or £91,000 a week, something in that kind of bracket, which was stupendous. That time. It was a big moment because it felt like, the Premier League on this ascendancy, and then one of its players has left for money that no Premier League team is really offering.
Yeah, because this was the dawn, if you like. People had signed players on Bosman's, but this was now players' agents saying, well, hang on a minute. If you'd went to sign Steve McManaman in that era, you'd be, 20 million maybe? 15 to 20? Round about that. Well, you're saving so much that you're going to have to pay him a big chunk of that. And now that's standard. Players run down their contract because they feel that will boost their, and it does, because obviously the buying club are quite happy. They don't need to shell out a transfer fee, so they would rather pay you a percentage of a transfer fee over your contract, which again is also handy because it's over a contract rather than potentially upfront or whatever. But there was shock, and again it was that you hate to dump on the UK, but there was that very kind of small-minded thing of almost, how dare he? I remember reading articles at the time, and you can imagine the type of journalists. It was like the Custuses and the those sort of Rob Draper, those sort of guys that Liverpool gave him a chance, and all of that kind of stuff, as if anybody doesn't leave a job where their wages get quadrupled. But also, I think that it's the one thing that English football took a while to, and now it has, I think, which is that Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world, and they can outbid you. And they are the club that, if they come in for a player, you are not getting them. And there have been times over the last 20 years where England can blow, anyone out the water financially. They can pay money that nobody else can, etc. If Real Madrid go for a player, Mbappe this summer is a great example. He's going to Real Madrid because they wanted him, and it was that simple. People grow up dreaming, particularly European players, grow up dreaming of playing for Real Madrid. That's the dream. That's where they want to go.
I think it was a really good move for him, because obviously Liverpool underachieving, but you could sort of get pigeonholed as being a Premier League player and nice and flashy, and maybe not as much pressure playing for Liverpool, but going there, I guess, and moving from being one of the main men in a team to being a bit of a cog kind of team and having to do the dirty work and sometimes playing central midfield and tracking back and all that sort of stuff. I think it maybe humbles you a little bit, and it certainly made him a better player. He was really, really clever as a player at Madrid, a little bit different to how he was at United. I guess you could say the same at Liverpool. Sorry, I guess you could say the same about Beckham when he goes as well. It probably humbles you, becoming a cog in a team rather than being the main man. So I think it's a really good move for him, and the first one in a long time, wasn't it, to move from England to Spain. So it was a really, I guess, a brave move for him as well. And obviously it paid off with winning the Champions League in his first season.
If you enjoyed the show and want to help us grow, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. On YouTube, search for And It's Live Podcast. We've got new deep dives, drafts, and breakdowns dropping every other day.